What should I review today? Crap shows like I did in the beginning? Or something popular? Maybe something more recent to get the views? I don't know. God damn you! Let's make the wheel decide. Nice! Now let's pick the top 50 anime of all time, insert them into the wheel, and let's try this again. The thing is, I have seen a big chunk of them already, and even covered many of them on this show before, but like, what's the chance of the wheel landing on them again? Honestly, there's no way in hell that an anime I already covered would end up winning. Ooh, Death Note. Hey there guys, Thomas here. Before we start, I have to put this out there that this video is very biased because I have seen this show before many times. It's also one of my favorite anime of all time, but that was before, when I was just a small little boy who had no sense of culture and watched anime for fun. Now I'm mature. I do nothing for fun anymore. Let's see if it still holds up to my ridiculously high expectations even after I've analyzed every shit stain on Light's pants. But just so you'd understand how dedicated I am to the series. From the first convention that I ever went to, I bought this amazing Death Note poster. Now, if this doesn't show you dedication towards an anime, then I don't know what will. What better way to take down an anime than to look at the stuff that I held in high regard and comparing it to my taste nowadays? So there are 5 aspects that I remember it standing out in. First up, the music. The soundtrack was amazing. I used to listen it on repeat daily. Second thing is the characters. That they were real and their actions were based on logic. Compared to other shows that were airing at the same time that I also watched, like Naruto or Bleach. It was just cool to see normal people in an anime. And in an awesome show, not talking about some ecchi school slice of life harem shows. Third up is the animation. I don't remember it being super realistic or anything, but there were a lot of cool shots in it. And finally, the story. That it was flawless. That there might have been some minor plot holes, but they were barely noticeable, and that it was a complete story with an awesome premise. Also the pacing. There was never a dull moment in it. Never. Some kind of action was going on all the time, even if the moments don't even seem like they should have action in it. This is the subscribe notebook. Everybody's name who will... Oh, jeez. So after going through the 37 episodes, I have to say, damn. But anyways, let's start off our analysis with the music part. Yep, still as amazing as ever. And why it's memorable, why I still enjoy it, is because it's not some generic piano tune in the background or just some basic ambient music to give you some kind of an emotion. It's an integral part in the show itself. It's like a separate character that you just love. It's immediately recognizable, catchy, and has more behind it than just, oh, feel emotions. And even some dude with red hair covered it pretty well, so. And it's also one of the reasons why I picked up trying to play guitar. So who doesn't know our main duo? Light Yagami and L. The yin and the yang. The egg white and the egg black. Some of the most iconic characters in the anime world and people who are still being cosplayed to this day. And I'd say that my past vision of them still mostly holds up. All of the characters are extremely memorable while still retaining the looks of average humans. They never go full chibi or resort to dyed hair, or weird outfits or make random jokes out of nowhere. And even personality-wise, Light acts like a sociopath, but his actions are understandable, they're based in some kind of logic. And even the supporting cast is amazing. Though on some rare occasions the lines that they had to say were a bit off-putting and weird, to say the least. I mean, I take a potato chip and eat it is a fine meme, but you're killing people, like, is that really where your priorities are? Or speaking of the realistic nature of the show, both of them are still like tennis champs, even though they've only played when they were little, and one of them is just eating empty calories and not doing any kind of exercise that we can see of, at least. Also, why do L and N have to have some weird kinks? I mean, sure, eating sugars keeps your brain active, I guess, and playing with toys keeps your concentration going, but that's just seems kinda edgy. So, I've been going over the recent documents and... No, I'm not an alcoholic or anything. This just helps me think better. Sounds good. Let's go solve crimes for the FBI. Does it have cool shots? Yes, it does. A pretty easy point to cover. Or is it? So it is true, it does have a lot of awesome shots. Like they managed to make writing in a book seem actually interesting. Like it's the best goddamn thing you could ever do in existence. But oh man, this anime hasn't aged that well. Now, what I'm going to mention next is mostly nitpicking because it doesn't appear that often, but it still was noticeable for me after watching this show for like 5th time. The character animation at points is just horrible. Look at this! And no, these aren't just some background actors where I've zoomed in on the scene or some highly action-packed scene where I've paused on single frames. They have some pretty bad animation on the main characters that are the sole focus of the scene, and at points the face animations are just laughable. Though again, if it's your first watch through and you're concentrating on more important stuff like the plot, then these things won't stand out to you as much. But of course, me being an intellectual with a high IQ can like spot these things from miles away. But again, what's mostly important is that they don't stick with standard shots, they still experiment, they try out different camera angles, play with colors, even throw in some split screen at points, and it's overall enjoyable. I've now finished with this page of the script. I'm gonna take it and flip it. A big deal for me was the pacing. Like, there are a lot of shows that maybe open up slowly and then go faster, or start off fast and then just slow down, but this one starts with a bang and just keeps on rolling with it. Every episode brings in something new. I'd almost go as far as to say that it was episodic in nature. As in, I could pick a random episode and enjoy it, because for the most part every episode had a beginning, a middle and an end. Like a little story in itself. And it moves along extremely fast. Like some other shows would take hundreds of episodes just to tell the story that they did in 3 episodes. In the first episode, it's about finding a magical book, explaining the rules, the world, the main character. In the second episode, they're already introducing the anti-hero, or the hero, yeah, that's kinda iffy. Then in the third one, they're already clashing, they're fighting each other, mentally. In the span of 3 episodes, they've already established the characters, the world, and the rules, and without seemingly sacrificing anything like world building or character development. Now, it is fair to say that at later episodes it does slow down a tiny bit to tie up loose ends, but it never gets boring or feels like they're doing something just for the sake of explanation. So yeah, I'd still say that there never was a dull moment in there. So finally, we're down to the story. So for whoever doesn't know, a magical book lands on Earth, a kid picks it up, and whoever's name he writes in the book dies. You might think that a killer like that is impossible to find and that they made their main character too overpowered, but already by the 3rd episode, they're narrowing down the suspects. And from that point on, there's just an intense battle between Elle and Kira going on all the time, just one outsmarting the other one, always being one step ahead of each other, and behind. And it's even worthwhile to go through more than once, because every time I watch it, I discover something new again. Like, one of the moments that really stuck with me when I was smaller was when it was raining and both of the guys met up on the roof and then went inside. And Light was just sitting on the stairs and Elle came and started cleaning his feet. At that time, it was just a bit weird for me. But come on, now that I'm an intellectual, I can clearly see that it's a very obvious Bible reference. And I feel like I have to address the elephant in the room, which, spoilers, Elle dies a 3rd way through. A lot of people were pissed that they just killed off the main character like that. But who gives a shit? It was explained, it seemed logical. Being able to continue the story as well as they did, even after killing off one of the main characters, shows off how well it's actually written.
It seems like you're pretty skilled with your hands. I bet you're pretty popular with the girls, aren't you?
Did he just... So of course, if you look deep enough into any show, then you can start finding some potholes or things to nitpick, and this isn't an exception. One of the things that I noticed is that in the middle, it said that if a Shinigami prevents a murder that's about to happen to you, you gain the life of the Shinigami, which means, like, wouldn't Misa be, I don't know, maybe have 300 years to live? And in episode 26, when Watari is killed, it said that he erased everything on the computer hard drives, but in the next episode, Light is just copying files from the computers to move to a different place. And honestly, who the fuck shoots at a bulletproof glass point blank? That shit's gonna ricochet into your leg. What? Hey kid, what are you doing? Oh, nothing, I'm just eating some chips and doing homework. I'd say for me, Death Note is a perfect gateway anime. It's not crazy enough to scare off a normal viewer, but it's not boring and plain enough to make them wonder why they're even watching anime in the first place. I enjoyed rewatching every single episode, and it still lives up to my expectations even these days. So, it remains a 10 out of 10. It's still one of the best shows out there, has an amazing cast of people, has an amazing story, and I couldn't recommend it enough. And okay, even though it's not perfect, it's as close to perfection as something can be in my eyes. And yes, I've also seen the Netflix Death Note movie. Opinions on that can be seen on a video here. But thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like the video or dislike if you didn't like, and comment if you didn't like it. Why didn't you like it? And I'll see you some other day with another clickbait review.